Hello everyone. Today I want to tell my story that has made me absolutely lose faith in women. I'm a 34-year-old man and the firstborn child of my parents, who came from a middle-class family in a South Asian community when I was 28 years old. My parents were quite concerned about my marriage because they were getting older and wanted to see a grandchild before passing away. My father married late and was 70 years old. So he wanted to see my child before he passed away. My other siblings were young and enrolled in school, so all the expectations of giving a grandchild were placed on me. In South Asian families, children live with their parents, and the pressure to please your parents is very intense. Typically they arrange your marriage with someone you don't know. But I was fortunate to meet a lady named Sarah at work. My parents were pleased to meet her since she was a respectable, kind, and cheerful person, and my entire family admired her generous spirit. She was incredibly kind to my family and me. My family wanted us to get married as soon as possible so that we could start a family. Sarah had gotten along well with my family, became friends with my siblings, and was treated as if she were a daughter by my parents. My parents sent my proposal to Sarah's family, and they accepted it. So the preparation for our wedding had begun. After we got married, everyone was incredibly thrilled for us. We were one of the few couples in town to have both an arranged marriage and a love marriage. Since South Asian families need their wives to continue living with their husband's parents even after marriage, Sarah had come to our home shortly after we were married. Although she continued her profession, she never neglected me or my family. She would devote time to everyone and prepare delicious food for us on weekends. On weekdays when Sarah had to go to work, my mum used to make meals for all of us. Sarah and I had become parents to a lovely son 1 year after our marriage. Everyone was ecstatic and happy. My father had to carry his first grandchild. My family was over the moon. I was madly in love with Sarah and our son. She had grown more dear to my family and they wouldn't allow her to do any housework. They treated her like a queen during her pregnancy and after she gave birth to our first child. They planned 2 lavish events to celebrate the birth of our child, and my family gave Sarah gold and diamonds as a thank you for bringing us such joy. Over the years, I had grown to like Sarah more. We were the perfect couple and were living our best lives. My father passed away before our child turned 1, but everyone was satisfied that he was able to see his grandchild, which was his biggest wish. Sarah helped me deal with the loss of my father emotionally because I was so close to him. 6 months later, in order to break the cycle of sadness and mourning, we booked a trip to the Maldives. A business emergency arose the day before the trip, so I told Sarah to go and that I would join her the next day. Sarah went there and handled everything. The next day, I arrived in the Maldives and met up with my kid and wife. We were having a great time together, but occasionally I had to leave our hotel room for work-related meetings. This trip had brought my wife and I closer together. It was a brief family vacation, and we spent most of the time at the same hotel because the staff there looked after us well and it was conveniently located for all of our destinations. Therefore we didn't switch hotels much. I had given them a large tip for looking after us. When we left the hotel to return to our home, one of the housekeepers gave me a note, which I put in my pocket thinking it was a thank you note. We were in such a rush that I had no time to check that note. We arrived home safely. And while we were sharing travel stories with family and friends, I was reminded of the note. When I checked it out, I was horrified to read what was written there. It stated that, "Your wife is cheating on you. Stay cautious." After reading that, I became upset and assumed it was some sort of sick joke, so I placed the note back in my pocket and tried to ignore it. The next day, however, as I was working in my office, I suddenly remembered the note. To try my luck, I Googled the contact information of the hotel where we were staying during our trip. I found the hotel's contact information online and persuaded the staff to let me speak with a certain housekeeper. They had me wait, but eventually, I was able to speak with him. When I questioned him about the note, he said, "You seem like a good guy, so I wanted to let you know what was happening behind your back." He then proceeded to explain how my wife had stayed with another man when she arrived there a day before me, and that whenever I would go to a meeting, another guy would be with her. I was uncertain whether to believe him or not, but I thanked him. That evening, when I got home, I was distressed and puzzled. My wife Sarah noticed this and inquired as to whether everything was all right. I didn't want to accuse her of anything without having proof, but when she inquired, I became emotional and informed her about the note and vowed to sue the hotel for making such a false accusation about my wife. Sarah was terrified by my intentions to sue the hotel management and admitted that he was with some another man. She was sobbing uncontrollably and was panicked and said, "You are the father of your child." I was stunned by her response because I didn't mention our child at all. Instead, I was just inquiring about what had happened in the hotel. I left the room and couldn't sleep all night, so the next day I went to a hospital and had our child's DNA tested. I was astonished but wanted to confirm everything. When the results came back, it was revealed that I was not the child's father, and Sarah had been cheating on me for I don't know how long. My world was spinning. How was I supposed to handle this? How was I supposed to break the news to my family that their adored daughter-in-law had been a deceiver? How was I to break the news that my deceased father had not met his grandchild before his departure from this world? I was in a state of utter shock at this discovery because adultery and divorces are not very prevalent in South Asian cultures. I didn't return home for 3 days because I couldn't fathom this tragedy. I had been raising a child of some other man, and I and my family had treated my wife like a queen. It was all too much to handle. After 3 days of solitude, I decided to expose my wife. I went to her parents' house and revealed everything with reports, causing her mother to faint. I then filed for divorce and sent her a divorce. Update: everyone was stunned by the news of my wife's infidelity. This kind of incident had never occurred in our community before. My wife was so humiliated and she claimed she was in love with someone else, but her parents forbade her from marrying him because he was uneducated and had no respect in society. So she married me but never cut ties with her other love. My wife received criticism from society and she had to leave the city to escape the humiliation after I exposed the truth about her infidelity. And her parents did not accept her because they are facing humiliation from everyone too, because of the embarrassment she brought upon us. My family and I are still in a state of grief. Sarah's parents have repeatedly apologized to our family for what their daughter did, but no apologies could ever be sufficient. My family and me still miss the child since of course that baby was innocent. She had also taken the child with her. I've exposed my wife everywhere and she has lost all of her friends, family, and reputation, but I still feel depressed since I didn't deserve this deceit, and neither did my family. I'm working hard to return to normalcy, but it's difficult for me to trust women again. My mother wants me to settle down, but I have no plans to marry again anytime soon. If we lived in a different country, I might have filed a lawsuit against her, but there is no such law here. Sarah's parents have disinherited her from their property. I never have heard from her. She had sent me emails to beg for forgiveness, but I had never responded, neither would I accept her apologies as sufficient, nor I made any effort to learn more about her life. To me, she is now deceased. Anyways, everything I've learned about life can be summed up in 3 words. It goes on, and the world does not pause for your sorrow, no matter how severely your heart is broken. That's why I don't focus on what went wrong. Instead, I concentrate on the next step and invest my energy in advancing toward a solution. I appreciate you taking the time to hear my story. Please let me know what you think about it, and please leave a comment with your opinion about it. Please like this story and subscribe to this channel. Thank you, and have a wonderful day. Take care.